Welcome to the Arsenal Preset. How we doing this beautiful Thursday morning? I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning, or having a fantastic afternoon or evening, regardless of the part of the world you are watching this content from. So before we get into the nitty gritty, let's do the needful. Please like the video, very important. Subscribe, yes, subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notification bell. One more time for those at the back who didn't hear me the first time. Maybe I spoke a bit too fast. Like the video, subscribe, and lastly, very important, turn on your notification bell. Turn on your notification bell will ensure that when we do live or post content pre-recorded, you can get notified and can enjoy our content. So while that is done, so we're going to talk about Nketiah. According to reports yesterday, we could hear it all over the over X. Marseille have made contact with Arsenal regarding the possibility of the acquisition of Nketiah. Contact. Nothing is moving progressively fast yet. Contacts, they are showing interest. So that's fine for me. For me, Eddie is clearly not part of the Calafiori's plan. Moving forward, that doesn't mean he's not a good player. For where Arsenal is headed for the trajectory of Arsenal, is looking very obvious that Eddie is not going to be part of those plans. Doesn't make him a bad player. He's a very good player. Most EPL teams can have him, and he will do beat. Not only beat, he will do very well for most EPL teams. But for a team like Arsenal that's competing for the title, compete for Champions League, is a little bit off Eddie's pay grade at the moment. So let's see. There might be other EPL teams who are interested in getting Eddie. It's time to show your hand. You can't continue to stay behind the walls and hide and wait to the final weeks of transfer window. If you're clearly interested in Eddie, this is time to show up or shut up. And if Marseille are very keen on the acquisition of Eddie, it's time to move the deal forward between them and Arsenal, move negotiations forward, move negotiations with personal terms agreed, and let's get this deal done. I still have my own reservations and suspicions that Eddie will remain the EPL, but it's not impossible for him to move abroad, go to the likes of Marseille or other teams in Europe where Eddie can go and show his talent. He's not a bad player. Like I said, it's just that the trajectory of Arsenal right now is a bit too high for Eddie, and it's time for him to move on amicably to a team where he can play consistently, continue to develop, and show his talent. So shout out to Eddie. Let's see, will the team Eddie be headed for? Will it be Marseille? Will it be Brighton? Will it be another EPL teams? Let's watch. There is not much momentum on the deal at the moment. It's just initial contact. Let's see as this deal potentially progresses with Eddie. Will it be Marseille or will it be other EPL teams? I personally suspect Eddie will go to an EPL team, but let's see how it unfolds regarding Eddie Nketiah's potential transfer and exit from Arsenal. Now, let's go to Nuno Tavares. I bought him 2 or 3 years ago as a youngster, very raw, had some good games, but it became very evidential that he is not of the required level for Arsenal, a little bit too clumsy sometimes. And he went on loan last season, had a few injuries. Marseille were interested. Marseille were interested during January transfer window, but Nottingham Forest did not release him for us to make that deal very quickly. Unfortunately, he stayed at Nottingham Forest. Now, there are concrete reports that Arsenal and Lazio have agreed a deal for Nuno Tavares. I'm here for in the region of 5 million to 7 million euros. That's a good deal. I think we bought it for 7 million euros too. He's still young. Even though he's not going to make it at Arsenal, he can go to Lazio and rekindle the progress which seems to have stalemated. It's time for him to move on. Good player, not horrible, like Eddie. He is not just of the record level. If you look at our left side of our defense, they have Tomiyasu there, there's Timber, there's a potential of Calafiori. So it's time for Nuno Tavares for me to move on. Good player on his day. He can be erratic sometimes, but he needs a bit of refining. And going to Lazio for me will help him. The Italian league is not as tough as the English league. It's not as aggressive. It's not as physical. It's not as even pacey athletic as English league, even though Nuno Tavares is athletic, is fast, but he's a bit too clumsy, and his indecisiveness has shown that he is not of the required quality for the new Arsenal. Maybe for the Arsenal of 8 years ago, maybe for the new Arsenal, the levels are high, and Nuno Tavares cannot just cut it. It's time for him to move on, just like Eddie. And if reports by Sky Sports and other outlets is to be believed, that the deal has been agreed. So in the next few days, we should see Nuno Tavares doing his medical and joining Lazio from Arsenal on a permanent deal. This is not a loan deal, on a permanent deal. So you can see Arsenal are trying to move things forward as quick as possible. We need a lot of outgoings, even though we know Arsenal fans are always excited about the ingoings alone most of the time. we need to move players along. We can't be stockpiling players and have a bloated squad. We need to move certain players along, and the likes of the Tavares fulfill that bill, and it's time to part ways one more time amicably. So all the best to Tavares, even though he didn't make it at Arsenal, he can still go and rekindle his career elsewhere at Lazio. So yesterday we saw David come out to speak regarding Calafiori's deal, because he has been very quiet. So David, according to David, on Calafiori, this is a target for Mikel Arteta. This is a player he likes to sign. He may have to convince some within the Arsenal of this to get everybody on board, because I think there are some concerns around whether Arsenal need that position. And remember a few weeks ago I said it. I'm not saying we should not sign Calafiori. I like the player, but we have Tomiyasu, we have what's it, Zinchenko, we have Timber in that position. But if Arteta wants a left-sided player who can overlap and do certain things that these other players who are like Tomiyasu and Timber are right-footed, predominantly right-footed, even though they can use their left foot, but they are predominantly right-footed defenders, and they can do a fantastic job. But if Arteta wants a natural left footer, we have to just give it to him, provided he can convince the Arsenal hierarchy about the fact that this player has to be part of his team. So let's see. I believe Arteta will be able to convince the board, like Richard Garlick, Edu, and the Kroenkes, that this signing is a needed signing. So let's continue. Clearly, Calafiori is extremely enthusiastic about the possibility of joining Arsenal. I was told some time ago, and he is completely on board if the clubs can agree a deal. Bologna are asking around 50 million euros, which many in the game feel is significantly above the market value. Very, very interesting. So clearly there's an interest from Arsenal, which I've been saying. I know there's an interest from Arsenal. Now it's hard to convince the board that to pay or to part with 42 million pounds, which is 50 million euros for Calafiori. Is young and talented. Forget about the injury history. The last year has shown that he has recovered from his injury issue, but even though you can never tell when it comes to football or come to people. But if Mikel Arteta is convinced that he needs this player, for me, he's a player I watched in the Euros, standout player for Italy, quality player. I'm not going to lie to you, I've not been watching him for Bologna, but the few games I've watched from the Euros and the extended highlights I've returned to watch on the internet about Bologna, he's a standout player, physically astute, quick, very good on the ball, can play as a left back, as a left-footed defender, central defender rather, and can give Gabriel Magalhaes a run for his money. Quality player. I would love him at the team. It's time for Arsenal and Arteta to get on board whether this deal or this player is actually a priority or not. Now, if Mikel Arteta can convince the board that it's a priority, I think the board will buy into it. We all want to win trophies and win the Champions League and win all kinds of trophies. If it's clearly a part of the plans, I am sure Mikel Arteta can convey and convince the board. Now, it's for Arsenal to agree that deal. I understand 50 million euros for a 22-year-old Italian player is a bit steep, is a bit high, but sometimes that's just market value. It is what it is. You have to just pay it. If that's what Bologna want, and they're not going to actually compromise on that, there is nothing you can do than just to pay it. I just find this deal might take a while, but I believe it will get done. It might not be as quick as fans want it to get done, but I just believe it will get done. Especially Mikel Arteta is actually digging his heels that he wants this player, regardless of Timber and Tomiyasu, who can play at that position. Even Zini, that a lot of you don't like because of him showing some clumsy moments, it will get done. And the likes of Kivio are still there. I believe Kivio will get sold if we buy Calafiori. So it will get done. It might just take a bit of time. When it comes to negotiations, Arsenal can be very, very tiresome. Arsenal can be very, very lengthy. Arsenal can be quite sluggish, figuratively, when it comes to negotiations. So it will take a bit of time. I believe this Calafiori to Arsenal deal will eventually get done, in my personal opinion. So, guys, let me know what you think about what we've discussed on this content. We've discussed Tavares to Lazio, right? That should be getting done very soon. Calafiori to Arsenal, the potential is there. And Nketiah to regarding Nketiah, nothing is progressing rapidly, but what's their name? Marseille have made contact with Arsenal with the possibility of signing this player. So it's looking like a very busy transfer window, summer transfer window for Arsenal. The outgoings are very important as incoming. I understand a lot of Arsenal fans, a lot of fans always focus solely on incomings, but we have to focus on outgoings. I'm still expecting news on Nketiah. He has been moved on. Clearly, he's not part of Nketiah's plans. There are other few players that might not be. Lokonga too should be moving to Sevilla very soon. So there are other few players we have to move on in this transfer window. Very, very imperative. So, guys, let me know what you think about this players we mentioned regarding the outgoing. When it comes to the incomings, guys, calm down. Calm down. You know Arsenal will do the business, right? Even though it might be sluggish in wrapping up deals, we know the new Arsenal that's consisted of Edu, Richard Garlic, Arteta, they will get it done. So, guys, on your way out, please like the video. Very, very important. Strike a like on the video. Do not forget to subscribe. And lastly, make sure you turn on your notification bell. One more time, like the video, subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.